Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another AFL Fantasy Fanatics Friday afternoon pre-lockout chat, the final one of the 2025 AFL Fantasy season. I'm your host, Bales, and you can find me at BAILSDT across the socials, and has been a custom the last month or so. Unfortunately, all the other Fanatics are busy, so I've got a very special guest, and he's been very generous with his time throughout the season on Friday afternoons and our Sunday review shows and Tuesday night Q&As. His good friend Taezer. Taezer, mate, how are you?
Great, mate. I'm going well. Glad to be the ring in and send off the fantasy fanatics for the last time in 2025.
Yeah, we got one more episode, but this is the final one before any football gets done. So you are
Yes.
correct in that. So yes, no, it is here. We got the final round. We've had a game already under the sort of done and dusted for the round. And we got two more tonight, and then we got Saturday and Sunday, and then Wednesday, which doesn't count for any fantasy or anything at all. But how are you feeling in the last round of the season? I know that obviously the hat is probably a little bit too far for you now, but what are you looking at doing in the final round of the season?
Going to try and score as many points as I can, and hopefully do it with some players that I enjoy watching. That's probably the main thing. Just have a bit of fun, and yeah, I've got a few loops set up for tonight, so we'll see who scores well, and then that'll probably dictate trades. I've got a short list of some players that I really like, but to be perfectly honest, I haven't locked in my trades yet, so we'll see how we go.
Yeah, exactly. Whereabouts are you ranked now? Obviously, you've been probably top 400-500 for as long as I can remember. I reckon since Gather Round you've been sort of in around that sort of mark. So where are you ranked now?
Live rank is 281. I think I finished last and the last round 238 or something like that. So yeah, so right in there.
Yeah.
Right in and amongst it, but not quite a hat territory, unfortunately.
Oh, you never know. You get top 50 week, top 100 week, you might be able to sneak your way in there, mate. So you never know. If a few big guys go big tonight, you might have a little bit of more nervous energy towards the back end of the round. But we'll have to see how it goes. Well, I'm 41 points behind 2,000, which fingers crossed I can crack inside the top 2K. That's been the goal for a while now, and we're sort of right there. And if we can get there, it'd be great. But even if not, it's been a good sort of back 14 weeks or so since round 10. I've been pretty happy with the results that the team's seeing, even though I've made a couple of mistakes along the way. Trades, obviously you said you're not sort of settled just yet on trades yet, but what are you currently looking at now? Obviously the loops and stuff tonight. Well, run us through your loops tonight, and that obviously is going to dictate your moves. So what are you doing with loops tonight, and then what are you looking at with your trades?
I've got a loop with Connor Rozee in my back line. I've got a loop with Nick Dacos in the midfield line. Not because I think he'll score really poorly, but just if he does cop a hard tag, then it might be a way to get ahead of probably 100% of the top 100. I've got Gorn looped in the ruck, and Caleb Daniel tomorrow morning looped in the forward line. So the players I'm looking at probably Jezza Cameron as a forward. I might roll into Tim English if Gorn really goes poorly, and then a few like Lockie Ash, Ed Richards, and maybe even Zorko, some players that I've kind of got in a bit of a short list. And Heaney. Heaney's the other one that I'm pretty keen on if I need to run a midfielder.
Yeah, exactly. I'm pretty keen on Heaney. He's been in my trade plans all week. He's not currently coming in for me at the moment, but he's been someone I'm looking at. So I'm running Connor Rozee as a loop as well, but I'm also running, I've still got Callum Mills. So I'm running him as a loop tomorrow afternoon, and I'm just going to take the best score of Rozee and Mills and sort of with that. If Rozee fails tonight, that'll make me a little bit nervous with the Mills one, and then maybe I save a trade for later in the round to maybe pivot if it's if I bring in a Lockie Ash or something like that. But yeah, that's probably what I'm currently thinking about. But my current plans, I've had Daniel to Errol Goulden done all week. That I'm pretty confident with that one. I think Errol's going to go pretty well at Optus. Wide open space, uncontested game. I think there'll be a lot of chip marks for him. And then at the moment, I have got Petrarca to Sean Manor. That's my current trade plan at the moment.
You don't want to loop him?
I could loop. But I feel like if I don't trade, well, the thing is, I could loop Petrarca, and then I don't have to worry about mana. but then I could trade. Actually, it's probably, thinking about it now, it's probably better to do it. It just means that I'll have money in the bank in heading into the season, right? And I don't know why. It just feels weird having like 80, 90K in the bank. But I guess at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. It's not going to really affect anyone. So maybe I do run Petrarca as a loop, and if he goes 90, I just don't worry about mana. But Petrarca currently going is to mana. And I guess, though, I could trade Mills, right? Mills could go to Ash or could go to mana if I need to. So it's probably a better play to hold Petrarca and loop him. So I'll have a look at that once we finish up. But I guess we'll quickly go through captains. But if you guys are tuning in live, I know that there's not as many people tuning in at this point of the season. But if you guys do have any questions, chuck them in the comments and we can answer a couple of them for you. My top captains this week. So I did the video earlier today. So if you haven't checked out the sort of more in-depth chat about them, then check that out. But my top 10, I'll go through the top 5 first. So Bailey Smith, I got number 1 against Richmond. I think a lot of people are going to go VC tonight, VC early tomorrow. I think that this is a case where you go the VC on Baz. Get the crack at Baz's big ceiling, and you go the VC there, and he's my number 1 option, and he's got a bigger ceiling as anyone. So I've got him at number 1. I've got Max Holmes at number 2. Obviously, you don't have Baz, you could look at Holmes, but a lot of us have already got Baz. So Holmes at 2, though, I think he'll also go really well. I've got Ryan Marshall at 3 against GWS. So they're the second best matchup over the last 5 weeks for rucks. And I think Marshall's got a big ceiling, could go really well. Scored a 70 in his last game against them, but before that, 138, 110. So some good scores there. And Dodson's been dropped. Keeler's in. So I think that means that Marshall has already been the main ruck anyway, but it's just even more so that he's going to be that clear number 1 solo ruck. I've got Errol at number 4. Some good scores against West Coast, 127, 145 in his last 2. And I just think, again, this last game, if anyone wants to have a listen to a good chat about this, Lemon on his Lemon League, if you're on the Patreon, had a really good chat about this, that I think these outside players and these uncontested games where the games that mean much are going to rack up. And I think Errol is going to do exactly that. Hasn't gone over 130 this year, but I think this could be his score over 130 coming this week. Then I got John Dorset, number 5. I would have had him higher up the list, but I just think if the Crows are up by a fair bit, he's going to rest the last 10 minutes on the bench, and they're not going to risk him at all ahead of the finals, particularly with Rankin now out for the whole final series, you'd imagine, unless the Crows obviously lose the first game. And the Crows, I think, will be up. They're either going to be up for this or they're going to be in a shambles after what's happened this week. So it's going to go one of 2 ways, I think. So be interesting to see how the captain goes. Then I've got Grundy at 6. No Laddams here in this one. So I think Grundy goes well for the final game of the year. Tim English at number 7. Good history against Freo and a big game here. And I think English can get the job done. Freo are actually the second hardest matchup for rucks over the last 5 weeks. But we know Tim English isn't really a ruck, right? He does a lot of his work around the ground and getting forward. So I think he still goes well. I've got Heaney at 8. I just wonder if Brady Hoff goes to him in this one. A bit like Mark O'Connor did last week, just to shut Heaney down. But I still think Heaney could still get it done. Gawn at 9 tonight. He could be a pretty good VC option with a big ceiling, good history against Collingwood. And then I've got the Bont at number 10. I think this is just a massive game for both Bulldogs and Freo, and Bont's going to be he's a big-time player, and I think he'll go quite well. The guys just outside, Dacos, Butters, Cameron, and Whitfield. Also don't mind as them as VC shouts potentially, as they play only round. Whitfield, the only one playing a little bit years later in the round, so you could look at him as well. So, Taezer, what are you looking at doing with your VC and C this week? Before you let me know, Rowan Steele and Harry Sharp are the subs for tonight for Collingwood and Melbourne.
Yeah, great. I didn't disagree much with any of your captains or your rankings. I'm going to start off with Baz Smith as my VC and roll into Errol Goulden. Completely agree that this is the kind of game that Errol Goulden just pigs out in, and he wants the ball and he's just going to run to space, and he cares about that, more than most.
Yeah, exactly. I'm Baz VC as well. I just think that the ceiling's just there to be had. I'm tossing up between Marshall captain and Goulden captain. They're my number 3 and 4. I've been going back and forth between the two all week. I've had both captain for various parts. It's not been one where a couple weeks ago I had someone VC and someone captain all week and then completely changed it. It's been those two. It's always been Baz VC, but one of those two captains. So yeah, I just think Goulden could go quite big, but hopefully Baz gets it done anyway. I don't need to worry about making that decision. But knowing I've said that now, I will have to make that decision. But we've got a couple of super chats here. So Hyrax, thank you, mate, for seeing the super chat. He said, lads, no question, just appreciation. We'll finish with a PB chasing top 100 with Merritt and Mackay. Listened and watched every pod. Thank you for the season. Well, thank you, Hyrax. Very much appreciate the super chat there. And if you're chasing top 100, whereabouts are you? How many points are you behind? Because Merritt and Mackay, pretty solid start. Mackay, 97? Merritt, 115. Couple of nice pods early, mate. So congrats on that last night. But yeah, whereabouts are you? How many points are you off the top 100? And Tim Ashworth's got a super chat. Thank you, mate. He's asking McKercher to Ash or Zorko and then McRae to Manor. So McRae to Manor get big ticks from us. McKercher to Ash or Zorko. I think I'm leaning towards Ash with the better matchup, but where would you be going out of the two?
Yeah, I agree. And good on you, Tim Ashworth. Every week I've done the pod, I've seen some lots of support for the channel. So good on you, mate. And good luck. I know you're up there challenging for a hat.
27th overall. I think he's got the Patreon Cup wrapped up. So that's it's a cash prize that Tim will get posted around as well.
Champion. I like both of those trades. McKercher to Ash probably just for the matchup. Because even though Zorko's a really good player, I think Hawks could be restrictive. Especially if they get on top. And McRae to Manor is, I really like that. McRae's had low time on ground. I got rid of him a couple of weeks ago. It did hurt me in the Richmond matchup, but I just think McRae's his time on ground's down. He's getting phased out of that midfield for sure. I'm not sure. Is he asking whether or not you need to make one or both of those? I'd probably choose the McKercher to Ash if I had to pick one of those matchups, though.
I think he's doing both. I think they're the two trades. I think he's McRae to Manners one. I think he needs a little bit of money to get Ash. Sorry, a little bit of money to do the other trades. So like McKercher down slightly gets that done. So yeah, great trades, Tim. Definitely a tick from me, that's for sure. Luke says, can go Rankin to anyone, Rao, Dunkley, Holmes, or Goulden. So I think it's probably one of the last two with the matchup. I know Rao has been great, got Port, Dunkley's got Hawthorn. Both could be good, but Holmes got Richmond, Goulden, West Coast. Do you lean to one of those last two?
Rao, Duncan, Holmes, or Goulden? Yeah, probably. Holmes or Goulden, it would be for me. And I would probably Holmes, but they're both good. They're both good. Really hard to split them. What's the higher one on your captain's rankings, Holmes or Goulden?
Holmes at 2 and then Goulden at 4. So I'll probably say Holmes just, but because he's just been so good all year. But I guess Goulden's probably got the high ceiling. Goulden could go 140, 150. I think Holmes could go 130, 140, but then again, it's nitpicking, right? So Holmes has got Richmond. We saw what Sheasel did last week. I think Holmes could do something. So I'll go Holmes just, but both very, very good options, that's for sure. Lee Everett says, hey, Bales, AFLW fancy question here. Been stuck all week. Would you go Stannard to Goldsworthy and window to Barnett and a 300k rookie on the bench, or fix Cash Gen on bench and Clark Goldsworthy playing? It's a good one. I think Stannard to Goldsworthy is going to be a very popular move with Parker out for the season. So Goldsworthy, I do like that move. Window to Barnett is also a solid trade as well. Obviously, Window's got to go. 300k rookie on the bench. I'm not sure who that 300k rookie would be, but I do like the Stannard to Goldsworthy, Window to Barnett trade. So you can definitely look at doing those two trades there, Lee. And Lee also says, AFL men's question, Sam Darcy to Jezza or Daniel to Jezza? So who would you rather hold, Daniel or Caleb Daniel? So Darcy or Daniel?
I would move on probably Caleb Daniel. They're that Adelaide really do not give up a lot of marks, and that's going to be a tough matchup, I think.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think that Daniel goes. At least Darcy's got the ability to hit a score, and I think he had a decent game against Freo last time he played. I think he got like a 117 or something like that early in the season. So hopefully you can put out a decent score for you there, Lee. Do we think No Neil helps or hurts Jezza? Does he get more attention? What are your thoughts with that, Taze? Obviously, we saw Essendon put a lot of attention into Jezza when they played. So is that a worry for you?
I just think Geelong are going to be so much better than them. I think he's going to get a lot of chances regardless. And I can't remember teams. Who's come in for Shannon Neal? Who's playing that?
I didn't actually see.
So I'm having a look now. They brought in Mitch Nevitt and Jed Hughes. So I think they're just going to play a smaller forward line. They're going to play a bit of small ball. Probably Danger's going to play more forward.
Mm-hmm.
So look, it is possible that he gets tagged. He's not tagged. Just tight matchup. He's going to have Ben Miller playing on him. So, but I just think they're going to be so much further ahead, and I think they're going to feed him. So I quite like Jez Cameron. I don't think it's really going to make a huge difference with Shannon Neal. If I could have chose, I would have liked him to stay in the team. But yeah.
Yeah, I think Jess will be fine. I think he'll have a pretty good game. I think that's for sure. Dylan James Bale, sure there's a watch song tonight. No, unfortunately there will unfortunately isn't. I think with all the content and stuff, it's been I'm probably gonna have a night off with no watch on. We might do one tomorrow night because West Coast Sydney, a few relevant players there, but what do we got? What is it? Collingwood, Melbourne could do one for that, and then Port Gold Coast as well. So at this stage, you probably watch the games and relax, but you never know. I might decide to do one towards the end, but at this stage, not tonight. We'll do some for the finals, though, 100%. There'll definitely be finals games that we'll be doing watch songs for. TZ128, great work this year, boys. Thinking Darcy to Manor, but can't decide my other trade out between Jackson and Brayshaw. So Jackson would go to Kennedy, Stillthorpe, or Boak, and Brayshaw would go to Butters, or could do Darcy and Brayshaw for Boak and Heaney. So I think Darcy to Man, I think we'd both agree is a good trade there. Where would you go? LJ, does Jackson go to Kennedy, Stillthorpe, or Boak, or do you think Brayshaw to Butters? You're the Freo man, obviously two of your boys.
Yeah, so I do quite like getting off Luke Jackson. His role is just quite inconsistent. He played a lot less ruck contests, and he played a lot more time forward. And then you kind of factor in that they're also bringing in Hayden Young, so I can't see his midfield time increasing. Just having a look at the other ones.
What do you think about Brayshaw? Because I've been looking at trading him a lot of the week, but the more I think about it, the more I'm like, this is such a big game. It's going to be so contested. There's going to be tackles on offer. And we know that Brayshaw this year has been able to rack up tackle numbers. I wouldn't be shocked if he hasn't been getting the ball as much, hasn't been having those prolific 30 disposal games, but I could see him getting like a 25 to 30 disposal game and having 10, 12 tackles and getting a 110 to 120 score.
Yeah, completely agree. I'm not trading him out because I think the same thing will happen. And I think it's one of those games. It's a season on the line game. Dogs won't tag him. They'll just try and beat them. And I think that will probably, unless Dogs really kind of get on top, which is always possible, under the lid at Marvel and in such a big game. I think it'll probably just stay contested and lots of stoppages.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm just thinking that as well. That's because I was, for a lot of the week, I wanted to get Heaney and I've gone Brayshaw to Heaney, but I'm like, I could easily see losing a fair few points with that. Like, if Hoff does do a job like O'Connor did last week, which I think they'll probably try and do, like Heaney's the one from from Sydney you try and stop at least. And I just think that Brayshaw, big game, could see a lot of tackles here. And I just feel like I might lose some points there. And I could just see Brayshaw's that guy that everyone's trading out this week. Dogs aren't too bad. I think he went 119, I believe, against them earlier this season. Actually, I'll just double check that. So, yeah, he had a 119, 29 touches, 2 marks, 9 tackles. So I could easily see him doing that again, right? Easily.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I think I'm leaning towards holding now and maybe going for one of those Geelong forwards to get that upside there. Has says Goulden and Manor or Myers and Ash. Redmond put up a 143 versus Saints. Surely Ash could do something similar. Yeah, no, I think he definitely could. I think I like the first duo though. I don't know what you think. Goulden and Manor or Myers and Ash.
Honestly, like flip a coin. I think I would. The way I would just attack that is I would kind of make a prediction what I think the score range for Goulden's going to be, score range for Manor, and then same thing, score range for Myers and score range for Ash. I kind of see it as, and honestly, like I see, they could be exactly the same. Goulden could be huge, but I think either way, they're very good ins, and they're all players I've been looking at. Sorry, I can't help but split the difference, but I think they're really good.
Yeah, I think I just like the Goulden one, Goulden and Manor, but Myers and Ash, as you say, like Myers I could see again a 120, 130 there, and Ash could rack up if they chip it round late. So it's a tough one, but I'll go Goulden and Manor but I don't think you can go wrong. Flip a coin, as Taezer said.
I'd probably just add one thing. If you need some uniques, whether it's for your league matchups or for overall, if you're trying to get into top 1,000, top 100, Manor is very unique, and Goulden is fairly unique as well. So I think if you need the unique matchup, probably the Goulden Manor. Whereas if you need a bit more straight bat, I think Myers is very highly owned, and even Ash is solidly owned. So.
Yeah, exactly. Dylan Jones, hi Bales. Sam Darcy to Warner or Rosie to Zorko or Heaney? I think it's the first option, Darcy to Warner, but Warner hasn't Warner I could still see going well. He loves going over to Perth and playing well. Could see this could be a game where he does get 8-9 marks. So he can be a guy that can get a lot of +6s in real open games, which could be this game, kick a couple of goals. Rosie tonight, Gold Coast, a great matchup. It's a big game for both Port and Gold Coast, obviously for different reasons. Gold Coast have to win to keep their top 4 hope alive. Like they can finish 4th if they beat Port and then beat Essendon by enough. But Port are playing for Ken, right? Ken and Boakey's last games for Port. So I think that I could easily see Port maybe sniffing a bit of an upset here. So I think Rosie's going to be a big part of that. I think he'll score well. Like he had one tackle last week. That was the main reason he didn't score very well. So I'm backing Rosie in to go well. And Zorko could go all right, but is against Hawthorn. Did have a good game against America in the year. And then Heaney could go well as well. So I would say, could there be a chance he could loot Rosie, see what he does, and if he fails, could you do another player to Zorko or Heaney and just keep Sam Darcy? That would be what I'd say, Dylan. But yeah, Darcy to Warner is where I'd go. Taezer, is you agreeing with that, or do you like the upside of Heaney?
Yeah, probably. So Sam Darcy's the kind of player that teams have been really trying to work him out, and they play front shoulder, all back shoulder, and even I wouldn't be surprised if they do something like Freo have Brennan Cox playing tight on him, and with instructions to Alex Pearce to zone off and try and try and get to him, because. Yeah, he's just going to be so important. So I think teams have really been trying to work out how to play him and how to restrict him. So I like that, playing the matchups. If I was going to go to one out of Zorko or Heaney, I'd probably go Heaney just because it's the matchup. Like it's a really positive matchup. Whereas Zorko, I know Zorko had a good game against Hawthorn last time, but the Hawks just usually don't let players really get off the hook, unfortunately.
Yeah, agreed. Hyrax says, Luke Mackay with Merritt on field. When Mackay's score counts, I'll be up to 74, started at 195th. Have Dale, Callahan, and Jordan Clark as other pods. So we'll see VCing Jezza into Marshall. There you go. Real unique VC there. I don't mind that. Do you think, so start at 195th. Do you think you have to go for a Jezza VC hoping for a 150, or do you think you'd still go Baz because Merritt and Mackay have gone well? And would you just go with the guy at VC that could go absolutely ballistic in Baz?
Yeah, look, the one learning that I've made from this year is just go the players you think are going to score more, and don't try and be unique for the sake of it. So I'm going to finish the season probably ranked about 200th. And if I just played the straight bat, the players who I actually thought were going to score more, and the players that probably came on this podcast and said who I think are going to be better players, I would be probably wearing a hat next week. So yeah, just don't be unique for the sake of being unique. Go for the better players. If you really think Jez is going to dominate, then go Jezza. The one thing, as we were talking about Jezza before and not having Neil and looking at that lineup, the only thing is he's not going to roam up the ground.
Yeah.
So he's going to be really deep. Now, if you think Geelong are just going to dominate and just it's going to be like that North Melbourne game where they're kicking it to him out of the goal square, then yeah, back him in. But if you think that Richmond are going to continue to put up a bit of a fight, then he's not going to get up the ground and get involved. He's only going to be scoring when basically finishing off everyone else's work.
Yeah, you could kick 8 goals and score like a 95 and just have like 10 disposals, 8 goals. So I could see something like that happening. So I'd still back in Baz VC Horrocks. But again, you're in the position that you are. You've got there. So if you're backing in Jezza, I don't want to change Jezza and he goes 150 and then I'll talk you out of it. So no, back yourself in.
And VC is probably the one I'd really like to take on if you really want to. If you feel like that's the only way you're gonna be able to get in there, I'd rather take it on with a VC than take it on with a captain.
Yeah, exactly. Matt, would you trade McCarthy to a 23rd premium? So Goulden, Heaney, or Manor, and loop between Brayshaw, McKercher, and Rosie in the mids, or would you just trade the likes of Brayshaw, Kurt, Rosie, or Jackson instead? Well, I think you were saying before that you wouldn't be opposed to trading a Jackson. So, but would you rather go McCarthy as a 23rd premium to like a Manor and then maybe loop another forward and if they score well, then bench Jackson or something?
Yeah, I think so. If you can loop in multiple lines, if you've got the red dots set up and you can do that, I think why not give yourself 2 hits at it, especially if you can loop between the lines. So Rosie's in the defense, maybe you've got a defender mid in your midfield line, and you can switch your red dot between them, and then just pick your best score and to work out whether you bring in a Heaney, whether you bring in or maybe you still bring in Heaney, but you switch McKercher to the bench as backup or something like that.
Yeah, the only thing I'd say, Matt, with that is I'm just doing the calculation in my head. If you've got about 40 odd K in the bank and you can go McKercher to Goulden and Jackson to Manor, that would be something I'd consider just doing straight up with the 2 trades. But yeah, I like the 23rd premium to be able to loop in multiple positions, take the best score, because that could get you an extra 20, 30 points and get you up the ranks. Emma says, who to drop, McKercher or Brayshaw, and Petrarca or Jackson? So McKercher or Brayshaw, I'm pro McKercher out of the 2, I think. It's probably a bit of a different take, but I think Brayshaw goes better this week.
Yep, agree.
And then Petrarca
Pros aren't giving up marks to defenders. So unless it could get a little bit loose out there, and maybe Crows ease up because it's the last game and any of that. But if you're just playing on form on what they've been doing, stay away from that matchup if you can.
Yeah. And then Petrarca or Jackson?
I think Petrarca. Last week, he had more CBAs and his role looked better. And he's not going to get tagged by Collingwood. So I know he's been a frustrating player, but I think in their current roles, if put it this way, none of us would start next season if the role that Luke Jackson played last week was his role. None of us would own him because he's playing more forward. He's only got about 30% of the ruck, and it's not that good.
Yeah, and maybe So you'd be trading McKercher and Jackson.
Probably, yeah.
I think I would as well. I think Brayshaw stays. Petrarca could trade, but I wouldn't be shocked again if he put up a 110 tonight. Just had a pretty good game. It's against, if he gets those marks and tackles, then he should be fine. Matt says current trades are McCarthy to Manor, bringing Baz into the mids, and then Liddy to a 230k forward mid red dot, and then plan to loot Rosie with either McKercher or Brayshaw. Yeah, it's a good plan. Yep, that's a good plan. That's for sure. Tim Ashworth's got a super chat. Thank you, mate. He says, how do I get the prize? Send through Messenger. We'll chat about that after Tim once season's done, but I'll probably just send it through PayPal or something like that, or bank transfer or something like that. And he's also saying birthday's on Father's Day this year. So happy birthday, Tim, for when Father's Day does come up. Has cheers, Bells and Taezer. Love your work. Best of luck this week, fellas. Thank you, Has. Very much appreciated. Matt,
go well, mate.
Matt says, if you could only get one, would it be Manor or Goulden? I think it's Goulden.
Goulden.
Goulden for you. Yep.
It probably depends. It probably depends who's going out. Is that as a 23rd premium?
I'm not sure.
Was it Matt that was asking about the going 23
premiums?
No,
I think he was saying if he gets one player, if it's a 23rd premium and put the guys on the bench, is he upgrading to Goulden or Manor? But then obviously, as I said, if he could do the 2 straight swaps, he might be able to get both.
Okay, so just what I would suggest, Matt, is because I'm going to be playing with my 23rd premium most likely. I already have 23, so but I'm going to be playing around with that role depending on what the score is. So if you're, for instance, if you're looping Petrarca tonight and he scores a 60, then Manor is probably more important than Goulden. Whereas if and especially if you get a good score from Rosie, I think was the other person you were considering playing around with, or that. So I would wait and see how your loops go, Matt, and then that might add or detract from the from the importance. The Goulden's the better player. Like Goulden will probably score more than Manor, but it depends. What your loops look like if that's how you're playing it from your 23rd premium.
Yeah. Jimmy says, "Hey fellas, McRae and McKercher to Jez and Ash, or Goulden and Travis Boak." It's a bit of a pod tonight in his last game. I don't know if you've seen, he's gone over 90 in his last 3.
Yeah. I think he'll get a lot of opportunities. They might even stick him as an inside mid just to kind of turn back the clock and get him around the ball. Also because Ollie Wines is out, so. I don't dislike it. It's definitely a throw at the stumps kind of move, and I really like the Goulden part of the trade. Taezer and Ash should probably score well. Not really. I really like your outs. Get rid of McRae and Kirch. I find it hard to decide which of those 2 I like better. What do you reckon, Pals?
I think the first combo, Jez and Ash, has got the most upside. I think that's probably where you're going. If Jez kicks 10 and Ash gets 30-odd touches and they both go 120, whereas I think Goulden could go 140, Boak could go 105, 110. So, like, if you wanted to have a look at Boak, I don't know if there's a way you can, if there's a 23rd primo that you can look at Boak, and if he doesn't do what you need, then again, you've only got one more trade, right? So maybe Ash and Jeremy Cameron's probably the safer play. So depending where you are, Jimmy, if you're trying to make rank up or win a grand final, then maybe that will dictate it. But I'm Jez and Ash just.
Yeah. If you're trying to make rank up, just remember that I think Jez Cameron is like 60% owned in the top 100, so he's not very unique. He could even be an antipod. So I quite like him. I'm looking at him as an option. But depending on what happens with my loops, I could also decide just to take him on because he's 60% owned. There is a real big chance that he gets stuck at the goal square, marked really tightly, and everyone else feasts while he's only, he as Bales I think said, he could easily kick 6-7 goals and only score 80-90.
Yeah, that's my only, I guess, worry is that it could be just a game where he just kicks goals and gets a couple of touches, and that's about it. So, that's something to watch for sure. Will said, did you do my team review, Bales? Nope, be doing that once this is done, mate. So I'll be with that in 2 seconds. And he's saying, thoughts on Butters VC, last game for Kenny and Bokin. He loves Ken and will give his all in this matchup. It's a good matchup. Good for being big. He's definitely an option for VC. If you're just wanting to have a sort of throw up the stumps for a VC and you're just going to go Baz anyway, why not? Why not chuck a VC on Butters? I think he could go well. He scored 133 against Gold Coast last time he played him. Won't get tagged, and we know when Butters doesn't get tagged, you can rack it up. So, by all means, you can definitely go for it if you think that's the case. And I know you're a Port fan, Will, so why not? Why not enjoy sitting back, hopefully watching Butters go big and hopefully seeing Port get a win. Not hope on my end, because part of me wants Gold Coast to win. So the Crows will be up against Gold Coast week 1. I don't want to play Collingwood, Brisbane, or Geelong in the first week, but yeah, we'll see. No, he's just answering Will's question there. Dylan James, my first trade is ranking out, but my second trade could be Darcy, Rosie, McCarthy, who's on field, McKercher, who goes. This is my last fancy question this year, so thanks for answering them all year. All good, mate. Happy to help. That's what we're here for. I think McCarthy goes out of those, doesn't he? For Darcy and Rosie, if you can get the same player.
Yeah, probably. Probably out. There's a couple ones there I don't really like. So I don't like McKercher. I don't like McCarthy. Rosie should be okay in this matchup, although there's a little bit of risk with his hand. And Darcy, it's a tough matchup. Not a lot of forwards really kick bags on Freo. They've got quite a good defense.
Just think McCarthy, probably the one that doesn't have the ceiling. So I think if Darcy has an average game, could still score the same as McCarthy.
Yeah. And you know what? I don't think Swans are going to tag, but McCarthy's probably West Coast's best kick and best ball mover at the moment. And if West Coast are even remotely competitive, then Swans will just send James Jordan to him, which is such a shame because he's playing so well and he shouldn't be getting any attention, but he's one of West Coast's best players at the moment, which is ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably a good point as well, actually. So, yeah, McCarthy goes there, Dylan, and trade him out. Hyrax, cheers, lads. Insight's always valued. Thank you, mate. Appreciate that. Matt can go. I can go McKercher and Jackson to Manor and Goulden. So would you get the 23rd Primo or just get both Manor and Goulden? Because if you only do one trade, you can only get one of them, I believe. I really like those trades. You just don't have a 23rd.
Yeah, I do quite like those trades. Yeah.
Maybe, maybe Matt, is there someone you can loop tonight? Like, have you got a Petrarca? Have you got a Josh Dacos? Have you got someone? If they just score well, then you don't need the 23rd Primo, right? And then you just do those trades. But if you loop them or Rosie's the other one.
So Matt, I've just seen your other comment that you can play Bray and Rosie without the loop. Rosie plays tonight. I would loop him anyway because even unless you're really worried about not having cover, you could just loop him and see what he scores.
If he goes well, then you just do those trades.
Pardon?
I say if he goes well, you just do those trades. Just
exactly. And if he goes well, there's a good line that you can run a VC in for your captain. Sorry, you can you run your VC loop. So I think just do it. And if he fails, if he gets injured in the first quarter, well, then you can pivot your trades.
Yeah. Just mean Matt says if I do those trade, as you say there, it means he does those trades without a loop. But as you say, just loop Rosie, see what he does, and it's fine. Just take his score if he scores well anyway. Tim says, will Nasai get attention put into him this week? Well, yeah, based on what Adam Kingsley was saying earlier today, it does sound like that they will be putting a little bit of attention into him. So the exact quote, shout to AFL ratings, put up, say, Adam Kingsley said, we need to make sure we quieten him down. We know he's going to have an impact on the game. We just need to restrict that impact. So, yeah, I wouldn't be looking at him as a VC or captain or anything like that. The matchup's not good. Potential attention, I'll be looking elsewhere. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if Bedford did a forward tag on him and went around with him. That would be something that you could they'd look at. Emma says, who to bring in, Ashen Manor or Cameron and Goulden? Do we say that one before? Is that another question, or is that a different combo from Emma? Oh no, she asked that. She asked her to trade out. So yeah, would you go Ashen Manor or Cameron and Goulden?
Ashen Manor, Goulden. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we went that one, and we said, or someone else asked the same question.
Oh yeah, no. Jimmy said Jezza and Ash or Goulden and Boat.
Oh, there we go. It's the other way around.
Yeah.
I think Cameron and Goulden could be really fun.
Yeah.
And unless you're really like, if you have to be really serious with this, and maybe you got a cash league on the line, maybe Ash and Manor is a more straight bat. But if you're not, I think could be really fun rolling into that Geelong Richmond game, which is otherwise going to be a boring game, and you're cheering on Jezza Cameron, trying to get a bag of 10. That would be fun, just to be part of. You don't want to be cheering against that, I reckon, watching that game.
Yeah. I think I'm Jezza and Goulden as well, Scott. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if both went 140. It's like that. Whereas Ash and Man, I don't know if both are going to go 140, but both could still go quite well. Team McManus, trade Tom Green or McKercher? Geez, I'd want to trade Tom Green, but I don't know. He hasn't tonned up in his last 4, 1 ton his last 6. Just not good.
If you can trade both, I'm looking at trading both. If my loops all go well, then Tom Green and Kobe McKercher are my 2 outs. And I'm probably going to be looking at that same scenario.
Yeah, if my loops go well tonight, Tom Green is probably someone I'll be trading this week. He's got no upside. Like, he's got no 120, 130 ceiling at the moment. Like, Callahan's taking all the points. All Tom Green is there for is getting the clearance and staying in the middle of the ground. He's not the midfield that goes out to get these +6s like you Gouldens and guys like that. He stays literally in the center of the ground, like around the cricket pitch essentially, and just doesn't move around anywhere. It's like no upside. So unless it's a real stoppage heavy game, which I don't think this game's going to be, just don't think this game's going to suit Tom Green. I think he might just get another 70, 80 score again.
Yeah, it's a little bit hard to predict with St Kilda because they do chock up the midfield at times, and they see that. So they do play in some heavy stoppage games. Like, think that game back when I think they played Freo on a Friday night and bored everyone to death. They just threw numbers around the ball and stoppage after stoppage. But they're usually more of a transition team, and Tom Green sometimes just doesn't get involved on the outside and get those marks. So yeah, I'm really happy getting off Tom Green. The only reason I would trade out McKercher is if the extra money on his head, because I think he's about 50 grand more. If that helps you get the player, I would be okay going with McKercher, because I think they're both going to be about 90 odd, I think.
Yeah. Casey Johns, trade Mills or McKercher? Where would you go there? Mills has got West Coast, McKercher Adelaide, but I guess Mills is capped at a ceiling, whereas McKercher probably isn't as much.
I'd probably go McKercher just based on the matchup, because Mills has the capability of just feasting. Like, if West Coast, if Swans get on top of West Coast, especially if West Coast don't bring their pressure, then I could see Mills just getting a lot of easy outside ball, and it's going to be good weather and last game of the season. So I could really see that. Marks. Yeah, I think I prefer Mills just based on matchup.
Yeah, I think so as well. And I think that's what we're doing, right? It's 1 week matchups. That's what we're looking at this week. So Will Bolt's got a super chat. Thank you, mate. He's saying, thoughts on Butters VC. Oh, this is what we answered before, last VC. And we said, yep, we definitely look at doing the VC shout there, Will. It's certainly something to look at. So, yep, as we said, we like that. And then Tim's super chat as well, but it was from the question that we answered as well. So what kind of attention does Nasai get as well? So, but appreciate the super chat there, Tim, and Will hopefully answered those questions earlier. Jimmy, cheers, guys. Just looking to win my grand final, currently 1,800-ish. So that was his match. So his combo of Jezza and Ash, or Goulden and Boak. So in a grand final, what do you reckon is a safer play to win a league GF? Jezza and Ash or Goulden and Boak? It's probably Jezza and Ash, isn't it?
Yeah, Jezza and Ash, or probably Jezza and Ash. I think is the safer.
Yep.
Yep.
Hyrax, mean for Josh Gibcus to come in to defend Jezza with Vlosten out. Oh, yeah, that's a good point. It might be Gibcus on him, but maybe they give that job to, isn't Bolter? He's still in the team? I would imagine he'll be playing in defense.
Ben Miller. Ben Miller's a big guy, and I think Ben Miller will just park himself next to him, and they'll try and have Josh Gibcus playing a little bit looser and getting intercepts.
Yep. Has looping with Rosie, if you had to field McKerch or LDU, who would you field? I'm Grim says, if you had to field one of McKerch or LDU if Rosie fails, is there one you'd go towards?
Well, they're both getting the tough matchup. LDU is going to be in the midfield. He's in good form. McKerch is going to be getting the kick ins and playing in the back line. I think he's going to get plenty of kick ins because I think Adelaide's going to smash him. What's the weather over there, mate?
Oh no, they're playing on the roof at Marvel.
Oh, okay.
This one.
Right.
Is this just a case where I feel like because McKerch and LDU could be anything? Would you just back in Rosie on field and loop McKercher in defence, LDU in the midfield, and just take the best score?
Oh, yeah, you could do that. Depends who you're looping. Yeah, possibly. The only thing with Rosie is last week he was very poor, and he's got that hand injury. Like I think he had one mark and one tackle.
So you're just saying if Rosie fails, you just play McKercher and LDU. That's fine.
Yeah, he didn't look good. I think McKercher failing is probably still a 90 because he's going to get the kick ins and he's a really hungry player. He wants the ball. He just won't get the marks. LDU, I think LDU is probably the one I wouldn't want to field. I'd feel really uncomfortable with that because he's not going to get many marks. He's probably not going to get a lot of tackles. He's kind of a, sorry if you're listening, Luke Davies Uniac, but he's kind of a lazy player, so he's not going to be getting in there. So yeah, LDU would be the one I don't want to field. He'd be the least one I'd want to field.
Yeah, I would agree. Max says, Bales, funny question, but what's your intro song? Me and Will have been wondering. It's just I don't know, Guesty bought it off a couple of years ago, got the license to it, and we've used it ever since. So that's the intro song there for you. TZ128, thanks. Agree with Jackson out. Who to pick under 942K? Already have Warner and Geelong boys. Really struggling to pick between Kennedy, Parker, Petrarca, Moore, and Green, and that being Toby Green. So have you already got Manor and Cameron and Myers and Baz? Have you got all four? Because if you do, then obviously that's tricky. Like Manor's the one if you don't have him, but if you've already got him, so if you got the four and you got because if you've got maybe the four Geelong boys, Warner and Jackson are probably the ones you want there. Is it? So
pretty sure he's got. Yeah, if he's got Warner. He says in the next post, really struggling to pick between Kennedy, Parker, Petrarca, Moore, and Green. So if we're just going between those ones, assuming he's got the other ones, I think
I'm probably crossing out Green. More tough matchup, crossing that out as well. Petrarca's been not as good lately, so probably just crossing him out as well. Parker's got what, three or four tons?
Yeah, he's actually almost done better in some of the harder matchups because he just tackles and he's setting the standard for the for those younger blokes. So I kind of like Parker actually. Kennedy should be solid. Like we said, there should be a lot of matchups in a lot of stoppages in the Freo Doggies game. So Kennedy should be good, but I do quite like Parker. So I'd probably pick between those two. Any thoughts? What do you reckon? Kennedy, Parker, flip coin.
Yeah, Kennedy's been the better one all year. So if you want to go there, you could. But again, he's not doing the same tons that he was early in the season, particularly with those midfielders back. And like Parker's the fun one, right? Not a lot of people got him. He's tunning up lately. He's getting a lot of midfield time as well. They're not going to want to run guys like Wardle and that sort of into the ground, even though it's the final game. I think they'll just want to make sure he gets through unscathed in this last game, get in next year. And Sheezel's been the one that's gone in there a lot, LDU, but Kennedy's the safer pick. Parker's maybe just the one for a bit more of a pod for the last game.
Completely agree.
Got a couple more questions. We'll wrap up because the game's about to start. So Dylan Jones says, sorry, Bales, one more question. If I trade McCarthy on field, like you said, should I get Zorko or Steele?
Zorko.
I'd get Zorko over Steele. Yeah, agreed. If you don't have Ash, I'd get Ash over both. But yeah, if you've already got him, then yeah.
I do not trust Steele's role, and St Kilda just like they're really clearly trying to get games into other guys.
Yeah. Defenders Bro says, hey boys, thoughts on Finn Callahan this week? Bit nervous with either Garcia or Winhager. Probably more Garcia to do a job.
He's a good pod, but yeah, Saints have shown that they can tag guys, and they obviously really rate Callahan because they offered him like 1.8 million or something crazy to move there, so they clearly rate him. I'd probably look at other ones unless you got a really strong feeling.
Yeah. And Dylan James says, final question, Bales, I promise. So he said final question last one, but he's going another one. That is all good. He says, Rankin to Warner and
Tick.
Darcy to Myers. Yep, tick. Or Rankin to Warner and McCarthy to Zorko.
No,
So it's Rankin to Warner's obviously the one for both, but it's either Darcy to Myers or McCarthy to Zorko. Is that on? If I trade McCarthy on field, like you said, you see McCarthy's on field. I think you've probably got to go McCarthy to Zorko, don't you?
Yeah, probably.
McCarthy gets some attention.
Yeah.
It's probably where I'd go. Or if there was a way you could go Rankin to Myers and go McCarthy to Zorko, but I probably don't think you can. I think you're probably too short. Tim, thanks, gents. Good luck, everyone. Thank you, mate. TZ says, yep, got all 4 of the Geelong boys. Yep. So, yep, we'd go probably Kenny or Parker. Irex says, good luck all. Thanks again, lad. Thank you, mate. And Dylan Jones says, thanks, Bales. I'm definitely signing up for your Patreon next year. Thank you, mate. Appreciate that. It'll be good to have you on board. But that is all the questions. So I thought we'd try and get through all the questions before we wrap up, as considering it is the last one. So Defenders Bro says, should I go Nando or Heaney then? I'm just scared of both getting a tag. No, go Heaney. Go Heaney for the better matchup. I think you'd probably say that as well, Taezer.
Definitely Heaney. And the other thing just to remember with the Gold Coast players is they're going to get a 5-day break. So there's a really big chance that they get rested or slightly lower game time than they normally would, especially if they're up.
Yeah, exactly. And then Matt said, thanks for the help, guys. I've gone for the Goulden Manor in for Kirch and Jackson. Yep. And he says, thanks for the help this year, Bales. Thank you, mate. Appreciate that. And Emma says, thanks, guys. Thank you, Emma. For those people that missed it before, what are your trades and your VC&C for the final round?
Yeah, so I'm going to looping in all lines. So I'm going to wait and see what the loops look like. I'm really eyeing off Lockie Ash. Like him, if I need a forward, there's a good chance I go Jeremy Cameron. Just because I want a bit of fun, because I think it'll be fun watching that game if we're cheering on getting a bag of 10 or something like that. And if all my loops go quite well, I'll be looking to get off Tom Green and Colby McKercher and probably bring in Lockie Ash, and I think Ed Rich is the other one I quite like. I think Freo will put a bit of attention into Bond, which means Ed Richards could run free.
Yep, I like it. And then for me, did you say your VCs at the start?
Baz into Goulden.
Yeah. And then my trades. So at the moment, I've gone Daniel Goulden. That's been locked for a lot of the week. And then I've also gone my second trade I haven't done yet. I'm, again, waiting for loops tonight. But it could be Tom Green to Manor if Petrarca goes all right. Petrarca goes well, maybe I'd go get a midfielder. Potentially Brayshaw goes in that scenario or something like that. So we've got a few loops running tonight. So we'll see how they all go. And then VC Baz into Marshall or Goulden for me. Currently Marshall, but I do like the matchup of Goulden. So one of those two. And Matt says, thanks for the help as well, Taezer. So he said thanks for me before, but he didn't say that. So thank you there for that, Matt. Defenders Race says, thanks, boys. But no, appreciate everyone that's tuned in once again. Last pre-lockout chat done and dusted, but we still have pre-lockout chats for AFLW, so that will be tomorrow morning. So the first game for AFLW tomorrow, I believe, is at a 1:05. I reckon that's a 1:05 start time. Yeah, 1:05 start time. So we'll be live from 12 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Perth time for about 50 minutes to an hour, answering all your questions ahead of the first game of the round. And good luck for the final round of the season, everyone. Hope your trades work well. Captains, VCs go well. Hope you win your grand finals. You get a hat. You get top 1,000, 2K, 5K, 10K, whatever your goal is. Hope you guys can achieve that in the last round. Taezer, thank you for jumping on, not only today, but throughout the whole season with us and jumping on pre-lockout chats, Q&As, videos. all the likes. So thanks, mate. Where can people find you across the socials?
Very welcome. Love doing it, Bales. Always excited to get the call up. You can find me at Taezer on Twitter, and looking forward to even better 2026.
Yep, exactly. And you can find me at BAILSDT across the socials and us at AFL Fantasy Fans on X. We do have one more men's podcast for the year. That'll be on Monday night. Hoping to get a special guest on for that one, but I'm sure that all four of us will be on. Myself, Guesty, Jordox, and Jordy will be chatting because Jaiden's currently on his honeymoon. So again, congrats to him. Hope he's enjoying that. Hope the wedding all went well. But we'll be chatting about our season and everything like that, recapping, and then AFLW content. Then I'll probably have a break for a month or so, which will be nice. But thanks everyone for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys on Monday. Have a good last round.